Using the pre-compose command in After Effects gives you the ability to clean up a composition that contains a bunch of layers, while still maintaining the flexibility of having access to all of the original layers in your composition. If you look in our project, in the timeline, I have 10 separate layers, and I've already gone through the process of applying groups to the layers I'd like to animate together. So to quickly select our layer groups, let's go to the label for layer 1 and click and choose Select Label Group. Notice these are all the menu elements at the top of my screen. Go to the Layer menu and go down and choose Pre-Compose. Let's create a new composition name called top underscore pre-compose. Go ahead and click OK when you're finished, and notice all those layers collapse into this one pre-composition layer. If I toggle the visibility off and on, notice they all appear and disappear together. Let's repeat the same function for the next group. Click on the label for layer 2, select the label group, go up under the Layer menu, and choose Pre-Compose. We'll call this bottom underscore pre-comp, and click OK. Now notice I've got a bunch of compositions in my project panel. So I'll click on my first pre-comp in the top of the project panel, and I'll hold the Control key on Windows or the Command key on the Mac, and select the other pre-composed composition, and just drag them both down to a new folder, and we'll call this pre-comps. Okay. Now to create animation, I want the menus to slide in from left to right. So I'll start with layer 1. Since I already like how the layer is positioned, I'll move my current time indicator to 1 second in the timeline, and then I'll press P to open the position and add a keyframe by clicking on the stopwatch. Let's move the current time indicator back to the beginning of the timeline and scrub to the left on the X parameter to get the menu off the screen on the left. If we press the spacebar, you'll see it's a rather linear animation. So I'll stop playback by pressing the spacebar again, and I'll click on the word position to select both keyframes. Go ahead and right-click on either of the keyframes, go to the keyframe assistant, and choose Easy Ease. Now when we go back and watch a preview again, it's going to slide in and stop with a much more natural motion. Let's copy those keyframes onto the other pre-comp. Let's click on the word position to make sure those keyframes are selected, and press Ctrl-C to copy. Let's go to layer 2 and press I to move our current time indicator to the endpoint of the layer. Press Ctrl-V to paste or Command-V on the Mac. If we preview this animation with the spacebar, you can see they both slide in at the same time. To offset the animation, I'll stop playback and move this second layer to the right, and I'll hold Shift as I start to drag, and it'll snap to the second keyframe. Now when we preview, you can see one comes in and then the next one comes in. I'll press the spacebar to stop playback, and I want to tell you the most important thing about pre-composing. We still have access to the original layers. So if I want to open up the bottom pre-comp, I'll just double-click directly on the pre-comp here in the timeline, and it automatically opens that pre-composition. So if I wanted to create animation in here, I could, and whatever happens in this composition also flows through to this main composition. So pre-compose lets you animate a bunch of layers together as though they were combined in one single layer, but it still gives you access to the original layers that make up the pre-composition.